There's an article on the Prophecy Newswatch website, and I will put a link to this article below, but it really kind of caught my eye. It's titled Global Digital ID with Real-Time Tracking of Everyone and Everything is Coming. And it says the World Economic Forum's obsession not only with merely digitization, but digitalization as a means of tracking and control is manifest in yet another document that has come out of the group. This time, the WEF is joined by the World Trade Organization, also known as WTO, in drafting their thoughts on what the future of trade, but also, when all is said and done, humanity should look like. The joint report, called The Promise of Tech Trade: Policy Approaches to Harness Trade Digitalization, came out in April and addresses end-to-end trade digitization and to include a digital ID certification framework that would, needless to say, be global and apply to physical and digital objects and also people, i.e., natural persons. Even now, when the pandemic, the supply chain mayhem, and many key geopolitical trends are showing that the heyday of globalization is over, this concept remains firmly embedded in the thinking of the Davos-based WEF, and it turns out the WTO, also based in Switzerland. The report explains the need to build the end-to-end trade digitization where natural and legal persons and objects are treated equally, with so-called identity silos or identity domains no longer viable. In other words, interoperable ID systems must become global. WEF's quote, spiritual leader, unquote, and its founder, Klaus Schwab, in 2017 wrote in his book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution, that people and movement would soon be treated the same as any package, pallet, or container, with these physical objects at the time tracked only by radio frequency identification or RFID tags, sensors, and transmitters. So this just goes to prove that they look at the people as objects. We're just packages or containers to them. We're just objects. The idea seems to have matured in the meanwhile with a number of digital ID and tracking initiatives that have come out of this year's gathering in Davos, and the new WEF/WTO report notes that not only movement and location, but also performance and contribution to a global circular economy can be monitored thanks to traceability. There's also a name for what a future set on such foundations is likely to spawn: digital dictatorships. Control and monitoring has been at the heart of any dictatorship since the dawn of time, and the digital world is providing more tools than ever to achieve just that. The topic of RFID tags emerged during this year's WEF held in May, a month after the publication of the report, and this time it was more concrete in the way the technology described as applied to humans. Short of wearing tracking devices under one's skin, the next best thing from the point of view of monitoring and tracking enthusiasts is to place them onto people's skin by the way of the clothes they wear. Active RFID tags send out a signal all the time, which is expensive but handy for real-time tracking, while passive tags are the less expensive variety often used in various packaging. What they had in common in the past is that they were clearly visible. So they could start sewing this into our clothes, and we wouldn't ever even know that we're wearing one. But there are companies now like Swickofly who produce RFID fibers and yarns that are high performance and lasting a long time, since they can be integrated into clothing and are washable. In other words, not something you're likely to notice and peel off. There are also those who already specialize in putting together RFIDs and biometrics like facial recognition data. While RFID technology automatically identifies tags that are placed onto objects, biometrics comes in to identify the actual person. And reports say that this is used to automate employee monitoring. Yuval Noah Harari, popular with the likes of Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, introduced on the WEF website as historian and philosopher who co-founded Sapienship, which is a multidisciplinary organization advocating for global responsibility and clarifying public conversation in terms of technological disruption, ecological collapse, and the nuclear threat, spoke in Davis in 2020 to share insights such as those who have enough data about a person can hack their body, brain, and life. Omnipresent tracking certainly provides a massive amount of data, including biometrics, while Harari seems to think that reverse engineering of human beings is what can easily happen next. By hacking organisms, elites may gain power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it, he said. Technology is getting scary. I mean, they're able to do things that I don't think that they should be able to do, and I don't think some of these things were really meant to be able to do, but nonetheless, it's here. So do I think that this is the mark of the beast? No, because Revelation 13:16 through 17 clearly states, it is also forced on all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. Now, a lot of people think that the mark of the beast is going to be something that is placed under the skin, which I kind of think that too, but who knows what it's actually going to be. I mean, wearing it in your clothing, I don't think is it, but I think that they're going to keep moving society along and getting us used to one thing and then getting us used to another thing, and then that way they can, introduce the big one without much kickback. So all I can say about this is we just need to watch and pray and keep our eyes open. Y'all have a good day.